Have a seat.
Hey.
I think they like it.
You're pretty good up here.
Yeah. Well, you know, I was thinking about this. Slash texted me and he was offered to come down and hang out with us today, which I thought was super, super cool and very nice of him. And I was thinking about it and I was like, you're very quickly becoming probably the person we've probably collaborated with the most in the history of Halloween Horror Nights.
Do you think?
Yeah, it's we've done a lot of these now. So I thought it would be cool just to start at the beginning, if you wouldn't mind. In 2014, do you remember, even back up from there, do you remember the first time you came to Horror Nights?
I remember it like it was yesterday. It was the Black Sabbath maze was the thing. And I think that's the first time you and I met. And I was so blown away by this maze and had the best time, and I was very vocal about it, you know, probably more animated than you'd usually see me. Anyway, and so I was hooked on Halloween Horror Nights from that moment on.
And I remember that night when we came out of that maze, you said, I'd like to do this. How can we do something together? And so I was like, okay, let me think about that. And then a year later, I sent you the treatment for Clowns 3D.
Which was super exciting, because I offered to get involved, but I mean, like, what capacity, I didn't know. And he called me up and he goes, yeah, I've got this original maze that we're doing, and would you be interested in doing the music? It's this psycho clown thing. And I wrote something in my mind that second.
You wrote it like right away, didn't you?
Yeah, literally when you told me that, I had a melody in my head, and that's basically what this is based on.
Cool, well, I brought a lot of goodies today, and we have a lot of ground to cover, so I'm gonna play a little sample from this. I think I brought the track of the whole maze, so forgive me, I might have to cut it off a little bit early, but we're gonna go back down memory lane and revisit some of the things Slash has done with us in the past, and we're gonna share some of the things Slash is doing with us in the future. So here's a little bit of Clowns 3D. All right, give it up for Clowns 3D. All right. Then a little bit of time went past, about 4 years, and we found out that we were going to be bringing the Universal Monsters to Halloween Horror Nights. And you're the first person I called right after that. Do you remember, what was your reaction when I made that call?
Well, it was out of the blue, so I was like, really, really surprised. And you told me what the concept was, and it was just super exciting because, I'm old school fan of the Universal Monsters. And to get the phone call, hey, do you want to try, because he was really, really polite about it, like seeing if maybe I was busy or whatever it was. And he goes, would you be interested?
Well, you're in a pretty big band,
Well, yeah, but I mean, all things considered, I'll just find time, And so he told me what the concept was, and I was just super ecstatic to get involved with it. And it was a lot of fun to do, and the artwork was amazing. It was very inspiring, so it was easy to come up with a melody that I thought would work for it.
Of all the Universal Monsters, do you have a favorite?
I'd have to say I'm pretty partial to Frankenstein. The tragic, yeah. So it would be Frankenstein, then Dracula, then the werewolf, and then the mummy.
The mummy, he always.
and then Quasimodo, right?
We're going to talk about The Mummy. Don't worry, The Mummy is getting his due. Well, speaking of Frankenstein, here's a little sample from Universal Monsters 2018, We Belong Dead. Cool, give it up for Universal Monsters! And then a change of pace. Cool. Then the next year, 2019, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. And this is a different kind of piece of music that you created for us. Why don't you tell us about that?
Well, because there was a real story going on here, and it sort of evoked, I thought, something that was a little bit more classical and moody, you know.
And also, like the setting, the beginning of the house was the gypsy camp.
Right.
So it kind of suggested.
There was different feels for the different aspects of the story, because you were going through. You had the gypsy camp, you had the lab, you had all these different elements going on. So they all had different moods.
So this is a little snippet from Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, the gypsy camp. Cool, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman. And then after, I take it you guys like The Bride of Frankenstein Lives, huh? Now, what do you remember about this particular one?
Well, I mean, it was cool because it was all female themed, right? I was sort of partial to that idea, you know. And then, I mean, you had this great story of the Bride of Frankenstein trying to revive her mate and having to deal with getting the vampire, what do you call the vampire brides?
Yeah,
to work with her, and in order to work with her, she had to kick the shit out of him. So it was just a really, really interesting concept, and it was just fun to make up something for it.
So, and I know you guys all the time, you guys are like, asking about the music from The Bride. So this is a little snippet from The Bride of Frankenstein Lives. Awesome. Bride of Frankenstein lives. I had to let that one play. I'll go on record. So far, that's my favorite of all the scores you've done for us over the years. But the Universal Monsters legacy at HHN is not over. As you well know, we announced earlier this year a new house called Universal Monsters Legends Collide. And here's some new music. Give it up for Slash. You know, it's funny because like we didn't know if that music would be ready, like if it was gonna make it, because our audio designer's like, you know, working furiously on everything for Horror Nights right now, and I was flying, and I got to like an airport, and I was like, oh, there's music.
I got it at the same time. I was like, oh.
So that's like the first time I've actually sat down properly and listened to that track. What was it different this time around working on the new house as opposed to, like, did you have a different inspiration or different vibe you wanted to tap into?
It's always for some reason, it's always completely different from one to the next. But this one it's such a great idea, right? And it's, again, I was like trying to evoke some sort of for that period, a little bit of a classical kind of thing to it, and also keep it really heavy, So he just put this together from all the stuff that I wrote, and sent him. So I was really impressed how he edited it together.
And that's to give credit where credit is due. That is Stacy Quinolti.
Yeah, Stacy's not here, but he's dynamite to work with.
Stacy oversees all of the audio for Halloween Horror Nights. Now we're like really down to the wire, so I'm gonna do the.